Another year and another discontinuation of a fun-to-drive sedan. The Altima has, at least for 2024, a VC turbo 2-liter, and that produced 236 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 around 6 seconds. I reviewed it. It was pretty fun to drive, absolutely, even though the CVT did suck away a big portion of the fun. At least that thing could scoot. The Camry, well, rest in peace, V6, right? Now, I am driving this exact car right here this week, and I will give you guys more impressions of the base Camry LE. And of course, it's white with a gray interior. So make sure you're subscribed for a couple more Camry videos heading your way. But the Camry's V6 is gone. No TRD in sight. Even though we have some sporty SE and XEC models, they're slow. I guarantee they're slower than this base LE with these smaller wheels, which I'm going to do some 0 to 60 tests on this base Camry to see if it's any quicker than what I got on the XSE. And what about Honda? Well, gone is the 2-liter turbo. Gone is the old V6. And now you have a CVT special with the 1.5-liter turbo, which I cannot recommend. But the hybrid is good. Just like the Camry's hybrid is good. They're good in their own unique ways, but at least it gets you really good fuel economy. And again, I'll be testing the LE Camry fuel economy this week as well. So we're going to go back to Nissan here. The 2-liter VC turbo, which is going to run you nearly $38,000 without any options added to it. Oh, but hold the phone, because even though we have some VC turbos that sticker for high prices, look at, I mean, you could get a year-old one for $24,000. That is absurd how much it drops in price. Look at the 24 here. It's $6,000 off of MSRP. Well, I found one for $30,000, under $31,000, $30,488. So we're talking about $8,000 discount now for a brand new Altima VC Turbo. I mean, if they're being discounted that much, you might as well discontinue the model because there's no demand for that expensive of an Altima. And like I said, the CVT in here, it makes for a pretty quick car, but it is not an enjoyable experience, even though it is quick, if you know what I mean. That droniness. And yeah, anyways, it is responsive, insanely responsive. You press the gas pedal and that CVT and turbo, they go just like that. There's really no downshift or waiting, so it is responsive. But again, without a true automatic transmission, it just doesn't feel right. But when it's $8,000 off, maybe it's something you should be looking at. And shoot, while we're at it, why not look at some 24 leftovers? You can get 1.9% and a $7,000 price drop off of MSRP. So I mean, here's the thing. People buying Altimas right now, are they going to have a good enough credit score to be able to qualify for 1.9%? That is the hypothetical question. But we're seeing some Altimas, the base S grade for 24, are these 23s that are still left over? And they just came out with the 25. That is worrisome. Absolutely. You guys have seen my videos on Nissan lately. They just can't get a savior. There's no knight in shining armor. There's no Gandalf looking to the east on, as the sun comes up for our battlers at Helm Deep. There's no success here coming for Nissan in the form of hybrids, and that's what they need. Could you imagine if there was an Altima e-Power, if there was a Rogue e-Power, they'd be just fine. They would be absolutely fine if they had e-Powers that they have in other markets. I saw that CarWow just did the Qashqai review, and it's like, hey, this is Nissan's best car. It's an e-Power, blah, blah, blah. Check all the cool things, the good things about it. And there's just no e-Power in America. There won't be for many years. But yeah, you could get leftover Altimas right now, discounted $7,000 off of MSRP in some cases, with really low financing rates. And I mean, how many are available in my area? There's only 20 or so turbos. There is 192S, which is the base. Let's put in. Sometimes you can find some SRs that are going to be discounted quite heavily as well. I don't know if this is a glitch in the system, but a 22 that could be left over. So if we look at some of these 24s left over here on the SR grade, about 24,000. Yeah, it's Nissan's. I mean, discounted from about 30,000, right? $6,000 at MSR off of MSRP. That's kind of where these things are falling right now. I don't know why you would need to wait for 25 when the deals right now can be had on the 24s if you need a cheap sedan right now. We are now only getting a base engine, 2.5 liter. So let's get into this and let's, I guess, commiserate in the killing of any fun mid-size sedan left on the market. Pour one out for our homie, the 2-liter VC turbo Altima. I have a theory. Well, I have a couple reasons why this could be happening. Reason number one, who's going to be shelling out about $38,000 for an Altima, regardless of whatever powertrain is in there? All right. And it was front wheel drive only with the VC turbo. If it had all-wheel drive, that thing would be pretty interesting, but it would add weight. I get it. But it's just so expensive, and people need cheaper cars right now. So getting more affordable Altimas out on the market makes sense, and discontinuing the very expensive VC Turbo makes sense to me. The VC Turbo, the 2-liter, is seen now in the QX80 from Infinity. All right, they discontinued the 3.5 liter and maybe the old VC turbos that were originally destined for this vehicle got pushed to the Infinity lineup. And we don't know if the VC turbo will also go into the Pathfinder. And if it does, it's going to be a harder vehicle for me to recommend. The VC turbo is not a bad engine if you lease it. I would be worried about the long-term reliability compared to the bulletproof 3.5 liter V6, the VQ engine. Anyways, let's get into this 2025 Altima, and then afterwards we'll actually get into the pricing of the kicks. And I will be driving the kicks at the end of next month, end of September, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so the new Altima starts, and when I mean new, there's nothing new about it, but for 2025, it starts at $27,000. The Camry Hybrid LE starts at $28,500. Would I spend an extra $1,500 for the Camry LE? Every single time, unless I'm leasing it. Unless I'm leasing it and I just turned the car back in after 3 years, maybe I'd go for an Altima. But yeah, it would be a tough sell unless I get, like the incentives are just crazy. I get a really good deal on this Altima. Anyways, let's get into it. For 2025, we have a new SV special edition package, which brings notable level premium features to the popular SV grade for the first time. We get the 12.3-inch color display. I don't even know why they say color anymore. Like what, and even HD, right? What's the point of including two of those things? Just say 12.3-inch touchscreen, right? HD's been around since the mid 2000s, and color has been around my entire life. Going back to like what, the 70s or something, color was standard in displays. So I don't even know why color is mentioned here. Regardless, wireless charging pad. You do have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, which I believe could be new to the Altima. Correct me if I'm wrong. You also get a rear spoiler with this special edition, 17-inch gloss black alloy wheels with illuminated kick plates. Watch my Nissan Z review that I put up earlier today that had an illuminated kick plate as well. It's not going to be as cool in the Altima, unfortunately. And we have carbon fiber looking center console trim. Fuel economy, 32 miles per gallon. The thing is with this Camry, like 27 miles per gallon city, you're able to double that in a base Camry LE. So that is just bonkers to me. And again, wait for my official return on fuel economy here in the coming days with this Camry LE that I have. But that's the thing, like, how can I recommend this? Unless you get a killer deal, unless you get a killer lease, then I can recommend it. I know I already addressed that, but the Camry is just so good for around $30,000, the base LE. It's incredible. So again, Altima S, $27,000 SV. What about the special edition? I guess it doesn't, I don't know if they even mention how much the special edition is going to cost. And none of these prices include the $1,140 for destination. So add that on here and we're talking, you know, $28,000 here for the Altima S. Now, you can get all-wheel drive on the Altimas, which I know it's going to be beneficial for some of you guys out there, but front-wheel drive is going to be perfectly fine for most people. All right, so I'm going to end the Altima coverage. This, my friends, is a better buy. The Kicks has gotten bigger with this newest generation, and the Kicks tops off at $27,600, pretty much where the Altima starts, right, at $27,000. So the Kicks tops, this is just going to be a better buy. Now you can get all-wheel drive on the Kicks. They made it bigger. It has a ton of ground clearance. You can get the big 12-inch screen in here as well, but you can also get that 12-inch screen on the SV grade, which is nice because you get, look, a 12-inch screen on a $24,000 cute little SUV here. I mean, it's hard to pass up the Kicks now. Before, it was too small, and now it's priced right. It's bigger. It's more usable. Higher ground clearance. You know, I don't know. There's no one going to be really off-roading their Kicks, but hey, you have higher ground clearance, all-wheel drive now, better ProPilot assist technology, best-in-class available rear cargo space. I mean, let's go ahead and look at the asterisks to that. That is going to be on the front-wheel drive, right? Because the all-wheel drive is going to you know, you'll have a rear differential back there. So I don't know if we have fuel economy here for the Kicks, but expect it to get probably about the same as the Altima in town, which is around, it might actually get better in town fuel economy than the Altima. So maybe around 30 miles per gallon here. For full specifications as well as fuel economy. Oh, well, let's click the press kit here. This is going to give us more information. 141 horsepower. And you know what? I didn't even go over the horsepower on the base engine of the Altima. The 2.5 liter is around 188 horsepower, if I remember right. So it's not a complete slouch, but it's not a burner by any means, especially compared to the competition's hybrids that are going to be a lot more torquey and more fun to drive, yet returning better fuel economy. Anyways, I wish we had the Nissan Kicks e-Power. Again, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Nissan has chosen not to have e-Power in the United States for years still to come, even though e-Power Kicks have been available worldwide for many, many years. All-wheel drive adds about 200 pounds. Not too bad, I would say. That's a pretty light addition to the car. You get a slightly larger gas tank in the all-wheel drive, about a half gallon, but it's probably a wash. It's probably about the same range because your fuel economy is going to go down on the all-wheel drive model. All right, let's talk about that cargo space. In the front-wheel drive model, you get a lot more cargo space. Check this out. You go from 30 cubic feet in the front-wheel drive to just 24 in the all-wheel drive. And I bet most of us would be utilizing more cargo space than they would be utilizing an all-wheel drive system. So for me, save the money and complexity and go ahead and get the front-wheel drive and get more miles per gallon, save a bit of money, and you get more space in the back. However, here is a big trade-off, and I will see if I can figure out the difference between the two if they're both available at the media drive. Because you have a torsion beam, aka twist beam, on the front-wheel drive models and a multi-link rear suspension in the all-wheel drive models. All right, so at least you get a nicer suspension in the all-wheel drive models despite it having less cargo space. And I forgot to mention, we're going from a 1.6 liter to the 2 liter. The 2 liter is seen in the Sentra. So think of the new Kicks as to be a crossover version of the Sentra. So we're going from 125 horsepower to 141. So 15, 16 more horsepower here, which is going to be nice addition here. Now, again, fuel economy is probably going to be very similar between the two. So I'm going to expect around 30 to 33 miles per gallon combined on this new one. For the front wheel drive, the all-wheel drive, will be probably 2-3 miles per gallon lower, would be my guess. But I'm going to end there. What do you guys think about the new Nissan Altima for 2025? Getting simpler, but at $27K, I feel like this car is going to have to sell at maybe closer to $25K if you're going to win over Honda and Toyota buyers. You know, the Altima is rumored to be discontinued in the next year or two, but I hear they keep extending it because they don't know what to do with battery electric sedans right now. That project in Canton, Mississippi keeps getting postponed as well. The Nissan Altima gets a cool special edition and less fun for 2025. Thank you guys. Catch you in the next one. Peace.